I've been getting a wave of questions from managing partners and GCs. Is Microsoft Copilot safe for legal work? Does it protect privilege? And can we upload sensitive information? Today, we're gonna break this down calmly, clearly, and without the hype. I'm Rok, founder of MPL Legal Tech Advisors. With a background in engineering compliant AI systems in finance, we now consult legal teams on AI strategy, governance, and adoption. Let me start by saying that most legal teams we work with are already under pressure. Tight timelines, capacity issues, and high expectations from the clients. The challenge with Copilot is on how little clarity there is on what's safe. Most firms assume being on Microsoft 365 means their data and privilege are automatically protected. And this assumption is where everything goes wrong, because the risk isn't obvious and you don't know when Copilot crosses the line. Number one mistake I see is automatically assuming Microsoft is safe for legal data. I hear this all the time. We're on Microsoft 365, so we must be compliant, right? Not necessarily. Yes, Microsoft invests heavily into security, but security doesn't equal confidentiality under your attorney-client privilege. There are two major gaps you should be aware of. Default settings don't equal to safe settings. Unless your firm or organization has the right information governance and tenant configuration in place, Copilot could index, store, and surface case data in ways that open you to breach risk. Here you can see straight from their documentation how does Microsoft 365 Copilot use your proprietary organizational data. They're saying that it's important that you're using the permission models, right? What are permission models? You gotta read further. Permission models available in Microsoft 365 services such as SharePoint to help ensure right users or groups have the right access to the right content within your organization. This means that you not only have to configure your settings for your Copilot, but also you need to make sure that the settings for all the services that your Copilot is connected to are configured correctly. It all starts within your Microsoft tenant. This is literally Microsoft telling you that your security depends on your configuration. Default isn't enough. The burden is on the firm to set it up correctly. The second issue or gap is that there's no legal specific safeguards. Copilot wasn't built for lawyers. As a matter of fact, it was built for everybody. We all know that means it was built for nobody. That means this translates to no inbuilt malpractice guardrails, no citation verification, and it comes with zero responsibility for hallucinated facts. Now here's Microsoft's own wording on this. The responses that generative AI produces aren't guaranteed to be 100% factual. So there you go. I didn't know won't save you when you file a fake AI-generated case citation in court. Let me give you an example from an audit we're working on currently with a law firm. It's a litigation team, and they use Copilot to summarize the opposing filings. In yesterday's shadowing session, when we were trying to figure out how they're using Copilot, one of the attorneys got their summary very fast, with 3 out of 3 fake citations included. So this came without a warning, and it nearly went into a client memo. Now we do these audits with legal teams all the time. I'll drop a link below so you can set one up. Mistake number 2 I see happening a lot is assuming the legal staff knows the limits. Associates and paralegals are already using ChatGPT and others in their drafting. Sometimes they fact check, sometimes they don't. Without clear policies and supervision, everyone experiments differently, exposing client trust and privileged information. A Stanford analysis of all major AI providers' privacy policies found that Microsoft applies strict contractual obligations for enterprise Copilot customers. Prompts, responses, and organizational data aren't used to train the models. Customer accounts don't have the same guarantees. This, in practice, creates a two-tier privacy system. Strong protections if you're inside your firm's Microsoft 365 tenant, and weaker defaults if staff use personal accounts, web apps, or unsupported Office licenses for that matter. The risk is very simple. If an associate uses Copilot on their personal free account, the confidentiality protections aren't the same as inside your firm's 365 tenant. And remember, Microsoft policies are ambiguous. Users on perpetual Office, free web apps, or the basic plan aren't explicitly covered. Let's talk about what you can do. This isn't about banning tools like Copilot. It's about knowing where they help and where they cross the line. Here's the guidance we give to our clients when evaluating tools like Copilot. Number 1, start with the risk and usage audit. Document where Copilot is already being used in your workflows. In our audits, we often find AI-generated text ending up in draft memos and even client communications without second review. Number 2, configure your Microsoft tenant for confidentiality, because your Copilot's behavior depends on your Microsoft 365 configuration. And without proper configuration, sensitive documents could be accessed by users who shouldn't see them. Recent vulnerabilities that we're going to talk about in just a second have shown how a single oversight oversight in settings could leak internal data. We help legal teams fix this without needing an in-house tech department. And number 3, train your team on safe AI use. Train both your legal and non-legal staff on what Copilot can help with, for example, admin summaries, template editing, and what it should never do. Legal opinions, cite law, or rewrite contracts. Train them on signs of hallucination or information leakage. And train them on when review is mandatory, before it finds its way into a work product. Now, done properly, this has the potential to reduce risk and increase capacity. Now, let's talk about some other things that come with Copilot, and for that matter, with using any kind of public AI tool. Because there's times where those tools don't only not save time, but expose you to significant risk. If your files are disorganized, if your intake is messy, or if you have 5 different naming systems for that matter, Copilot will surface the wrong file to the wrong person. It doesn't know which draft is authoritative, it just pulls from whatever it can access. And here's where the risk gets real. Copilot will surface any document the user technically has access to, even if it's outdated or overbroad. In one audit, we saw paralegals retrieving archived contracts that were never supposed to be touched again, simply because the permissions in their Microsoft 365 tenant weren't tightened. On top of that, several documented security vulnerabilities in the system itself are showing us how dangerous the Microsoft's environment can be. Earlier this year, an EchoLeak zero-click exploit allowed attackers to trigger Copilot to exfiltrate internal knowledge and data, files, Teams, chats, emails, through a zero-click malicious email. Zero-click just means that the user doesn't have to click anything to allow the attacker to initiate the attack. It happens in the background without the user ever knowing. There's no interaction required, and Copilot just handed over the data. Now that was patched, but it just proves the point. If your tenant and workflows aren't locked down, Copilot becomes a liability much faster. It's no coincidence that in 2024, the US Congress banned Copilot for staff over the risk of confidential data leaking. Let me translate this to law firms. A single data leak means privilege violations and malpractice exposure. You might say that was in 2024, right? But August this year, researchers proved our point again. In a zero-click attack against Copilot Studio agents, an external email they sent with a prompt injection coaxed the agents into listing and dumping internal data stores, including full Salesforce CRM export. Now, we're talking about autonomous agents here. There's no human in the loop. And let me repeat, zero-click means the user doesn't have to interact with the screen to allow the attack to happen. It happens in the background without the user seeing any kind of visible action on their screen. The bottom line, your workflows and especially your permissions should be tightened before you even think of a firm-wide usage of Copilot. And here's the underlying problem with all of these tools. Enterprise-grade security is a feature for which firms must pay premium. The two-tiered system is a deliberate market segmentation that offers robust default protections only to commercial enterprise users while leveraging the vast consumer base to improve the underlying models that power their entire AI ecosystem. So, is it safe to use Microsoft Copilot for legal teams? Not by default. I want to say that with the right setup, guardrails, and training, it can be a support tool. Although, talk to your friends that work in other law firms and other legal teams. Ask them about how satisfied they are with the quality of the help they're receiving from Copilot. Do know it's a generalist, so you might as well look into more niched-in, specialized legal AI tools. But first, identify your issue. Don't go tool hunting. If you're not sure how Copilot is already being used in your firm, that's exactly what we do at MPL Legal Tech Advisors. Book a consultation with me below. We'll map where AI is already showing up, identify your exposures, and give you concrete recommendations. And if this was useful, share it with a partner that was asking about Copilot, because you can use it, but not blindly. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.